What's up, guys? We made it to another day. I give God the glory. How are you guys doing today? I found the mic, so like yesterday, and we're still going strong. Very soon we'll make it to our first week of everyday upload, and I'm looking forward to that. That will be groundbreaking. So the word for today is power. So I want to talk about power, and basically, power is the ability to get work done over time. That's the physics formula or the physics explanation. But in reality, power is actually the ability to make people do things that you want them to do. Um, yeah, basically, it's the ability to, you can say, it's the ability to take charge of someone else, or take charge of an environment, or take charge of circumstances. So, you can take charge of a circumstance, it means you have power over that circumstance. You can take charge of an environment, it means you have power over that environment. Since you can take charge of a person. So basically, if you can take charge of person and environment and circumstance and make it modify it into whatever you desire, irrespective of whatever the person wants or irrespective of the person's constraint, then they will say you have power over that person. Well, God never allow our enemies to have power over us. It's only God that will have power over us. Amen. So there are basically like four types of power in this world. We have you can also break them into elements like fire, earth, water, wind, like Avatar. So you can break it into that type of place. So number one power that everybody knows is fire power, which I'll call uh, power of war, power of soldiers, power of military, that type of power. So we can call it physical power. Um, yeah, it's that type of power. So basically, that type of power is when people like soldiers use weapons to take over a country or use force to take over someone's land or someone's property. So that's the first type of power, military power. The next type of power is influence. Influence is water power. So basically, you can meet someone that can control 1 million people without raising a weapon, can influence thoughts of 1 million people. So in a situation whereby you have somebody that has with somebody that has military power, somebody that has military power, for instance, and maybe they have 10,000 soldiers, they will find it difficult to overtake someone that has um 1 million followers. You get, and that person has water power, which is influence power. So you can think of it like the Pope. If 10,000 soldiers was going to go up against I don't know, some radical head, do you get? That radical head was able to influence like 10 million people. Those 10 million people were overpowered those 10,000 soldiers. So, and that radical head might not even know how to use a gun. You get, might just say, oh, this is our goal, this is our target, and this is what we are going to do. And before you know it, everybody will jump in and align. So, that's the second type of power. Third power type of power is power F. F power, abi? Earth power is basically economic power, power of agriculture, power of profit, the power of money, you can say. Yeah, you can say power of money. Uh, Basically, this is like a type of power that people can be bribed, people can be bought, people can be persuaded to change whatever stance they have. because you are giving them money. So this type of power is it's very dangerous as well. Basically, it's like somebody sends 10,000 soldiers to a rich man, and the rich man is able to just bribe all the soldiers and tell the soldiers they should go home, they should not worry about anything, he will take care of their needs. He overpowered the soldiers, even though he doesn't have any gun himself. You get. And then the last one, if I ask you guys to guess, you guys won't guess it. So that's the wind power. The wind power is the power of God's grace. So because all these four powers I mentioned to you, remember what I define power as. Power is the ability to make people do what they don't want to do, basically, or make environments do what it's naturally not supposed to do, or something. To take charge of an environment, take charge of an entity, take charge of a person or people. But you see all this type of power, all of them cannot overcome death, which is many people don't want to die. But you see that death always overpowers many of them, except to be with Jesus Christ. So the last power is power of grace. The power of grace is the greatest power of all. It's the greatest one because you can just be favored and the rich man will give you a lot of wealth. You can just be favored and you have a lot of influence over people. You can just be favored and when the military come for somebody, you just can't find the person, you know. You can just be favored and when death comes, you escape it by God's grace, you know. So the power of grace, I will call it power of luck, actually the power of grace. That's one of the most amazing forms of power. So basically, those are the four types of powers that exist to some extent. That I think a human being has access to. I think so. In everything you do, always remember the power of grace is the one that triumphs all. Alright, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. Peace.